Let me tell you a story from 1787. The United States was finalizing its constitution. One of the key players in this process was Benjamin Franklin. As he exited the Constitutional Convention, he was surrounded by curious citizens. They asked him, "What form of government are we getting?" Franklin replied, "It's a republic, if you can keep it." And that last part is very important. It's also integral to our next story. The heartbeat of any democratic republic is elections. Everyone gets a vote, someone wins, someone loses, and the winner goes on to form a government. This process is the bedrock of any democratic republic. But that same process has led to violence and confusion in two countries, Romania and Georgia. Let's look at Georgia first. Its capital, Tbilisi, was rocked by violence. Today, hundreds of people hit the streets in protest. They were opposing a recent decision by the ruling party. You see, Georgia is an aspiring European Union member. It's actually written in their constitution. But the ruling party has decided to delay it. They have postponed the EU accession talks to 2028. Look at what happened next. Riot police were deployed, water cannons and pepper sprays were used, and dozens of protesters were arrested. But how was it related to elections? Well, Georgia held its parliamentary vote last month. The ruling party ended up winning again. That's the Georgian Dream Party. They've been ruling the country since 2012. But not everyone is convinced. There are reports of voter harassment and manipulation. So the European Union stepped in. Their parliament, the European Parliament, passed a resolution yesterday. It declared that this election in Georgia was not free or fair. It also called for a rerun. Basically, they want fresh elections in Georgia. Of course, this riled up the ruling party, which is why they have delayed EU talks to 2028. Now, this goes beyond domestic ideologies. This is a strategic tussle. Georgia's ruling party is pro-Russia, and these protesters are pro-EU. So the election and its fallout is a battle for Georgia's future, its identity as a country. Now let's turn to Romania. Similar protests were seen in their capital, Bucharest. Hundreds of people flooded the streets. They were protesting against a far-right presidential candidate. Take a look.
Democrația salvează România! Democrația salvează România! Tinerii vă cer în cor, nu votați un dictator! Tinerii vă cer în cor, nu votați un dictator! Tinerii vă cer în cor, nu votați un dictator!
Now, some background here. Romania voted on Sunday and the results surprised most people. A far-right and pro-Russia candidate emerged as number one. His name is Călin Georgescu. He won 23% of the vote. And why did that surprise people? For starters, he did not even have a political party. He contested as an independent. Plus, the opinion polls did not give him a chance. Yet, on Sunday, he was the big winner. Immediately, people started blaming TikTok, because that's where Georgescu did most of his campaigning. TikTok is accused of amplifying his presidential bid. Reports say fake accounts promoted his campaign on the platform. And there is no evidence at this point, but Romania's top court has now stepped in. They have ordered a recount of Sunday's election. It's Romania's first recount since the Cold War. Again, the European Union is involved. They want TikTok's CEO to appear before their parliament, the EU Parliament. They want him to explain what happened here. Of course, Russia is also a suspect. Most Western weapons enter Ukraine via Romania. So the West is keen on a pro-Ukraine regime in Bucharest. But like we said, Georgescu is pro-Russia. Moscow has rubbished the claims of interference.
The Russian side did not interfere in the electoral processes in Romania. We do not generally have a habit of interfering in elections in other countries, in particular in Romania, and we do not intend to do so now.
Целью для враждебных действий.
2 countries, 2 elections, 2 controversies. For the sake of symmetry, I'll make 2 points. Number 1, some of these issues are genuine. TikTok has been accused of meddling in elections before. It is on brand for them. Similarly, ruling parties have also been caught rigging elections before. None of this is far-fetched. That's point number 1. Point number 2, there is some willful ignorance at play here. A cherry-picking of which election to recognize and which to rubbish. Think back to what happened in Pakistan. We had videos of fake ballot papers being dumped at counting centres, yet the same European Union did not call for re-election. Yes, Pakistan is not Romania or Georgia, but shouldn't the same principles apply? You can't conveniently question results when a pro-Russian candidate wins or when your side unexpectedly loses. And this applies to countries all over the world. If you have doubts, trust your own systems to handle them, to sort out any discrepancies. Do not undermine the foundation of your republic.